Okay, welcome back to the Dossier Project. We have been discussing the traits that make a DOS woman. If you guys like this series, please go ahead and share it with people that you might think that this would be helpful to. Please go ahead and subscribe. And if you do, we'll be able to keep making these videos for you. Today, we are going to wrap up with our last trait in this series, and that is joy. So all of these traits that we have been talking about lead to the culmination of this one trait, which I can say for myself, I'll let the other ladies speak for themselves, I think is probably the most precious and valuable thing we can experience in our lives. So why do we do all the other stuff? Partially just to have more joy in our life. So that being said, I want to hear from all of you ladies. What do you think joy is? What's your experience of joy, and anything else you think might be relevant?
Yeah, as you were sharing, like the last we've done, right? We've done ownership and discipline and ethics, and like we've done so many um picked traits, like we picked those traits. And I think joy for me is actually an effect of all these other things that I am continuously striving for to have in my life. So I think like a lot of times I've felt like joy is something that I need to find. And I've realized that it's like the effect of a process. So having more ownership in my life and being able to be more vulnerable and be like, okay, this is who I am, and having the discipline to show up in the things that I care about, and being able to do the right thing because I'm actually using critical thinking to, do these things. So, like, all these things kind of like pile up, and then it feels like now I can have an experience of myself in the world with my own gifts, because I think that everybody's here for a mission. Like we're all so different, and there's nobody like us in the world. To me, that's just like, it blows my mind. So joy for me is an experience of myself where I feel completely connected with myself, but also with the world. And I know it's almost like I know exactly what I'm here for. And yes, I think again, it's a process, and it's beautiful. And I don't know if I'll ever find like exactly, but I definitely feel like I am a more joyful person than when I was in my 20s, for example. So I credit a lot of that to the work that I've been doing, but like definitely the work that we did in DOS. It was wonderful. And then the work that we continue to do every week with you guys, it's been amazing. So that's my
I
take.
think for me, it is kind of almost like the payoff, but it's kind of like, I mean, maybe a different thing. It's not necessarily the results. It's not like the we get this like cause and effect necessarily, but it's more like the journey and like the process and it seems like it's a very internal thing, as opposed to like when I think about joy, how is it different than happy? Like happy seems very temporal, like very kind of uh, uh, you know the cause and effect type of thing. Oh, I get this, I get what I want. It's kind of like a little bit of a short kind of hit, emotional high kind of thing. Whereas joy feels more like it happens when, maybe even like when you struggle through something, you work on something, and it's just kind of like really going through a thing where it's maybe vulnerable or difficult or discipline, and it's like more the person you become through that process. And it feels like it's a joy that's an internal thing where you're becoming, in a weird way, more of you, or living more according to the life and the values that are important to you. And it's a different kind of feeling.
I like I it's a certain state, like certain perspective nearly. Like there's me wearing my joy glasses and I see things, and for me there's a lot of connected with it, like a lot of awe and wonder and like excitement, or like a, like you were saying, and to like being connected with it. So there's a, for me it's nearly like perspective as well, where yeah, there's big part of it is like the awe and the wonder and the appreciation that's in it. There's like a wow, you know, like, oh, I don't know, I can't, right? So like that kind of a feeling, that's just very yummy and delightful. And there's like, it's very present as well. Like there's, you're not very, I don't know, worried about things. You're like very with the thing in the here, like, wow, wonderful, amazing, ecstatic, you know, like there's an ecstasy to it. There's like a joy to the world, you know, that kind of a thing. It's very angels and like huge, you know. There's, I don't know, there's, to me there's actually even, there's even a little bit of a, you know, mystical spiritual thing in it. You know, I'm not religious or anything, but there is like a, like I feel like a purposefulness of like feeling, I don't know, I think many of us humans, you know, we go with questions around like, why am I here, what am I doing, what am I, is the right thing, is it the wrong thing, worries, you know, like all of these very mortal like human things. And I think the joy is there's a certain trust or a connectedness to, I'm in this, you know, universe, in this life, and it's all right and it's all meant to be and it's all good, and I don't know why, but like I'm here for it, you know, I'm here for the journey kind of a thing. I don't
I
know.
love it. My analogy is it's like an infinity mirror of yourself. And I think it's that you go out into your life, into the world, and you see something and you see you in it, and you see how that connectedness that some of you referenced, and the purposefulness of like why I'm here, how did it get here, and like you love it, like you're in love with yourself, and you see it. And you know, this is even true. This is why joy can be, you can be joyful in any circumstance, even the most horrific circumstance. But let's go a little less than horrific. So I'm just thinking of, there are times that I struggle with my children because they're children. And it's like, even in that moment when there's like headbutting or there's some sort of, you know, unhappy discussion going on, there's just this like, oh my gosh, here's, you know, this person, I see how they're being, and that's how I can be like that, or how I'm like that, how we have created, I like literally I've created this little person in the world, but like I've created this relationship. And when you're recognizing all of this happening in that moment, sort of that's underlying the actual conversation about whatever, chocolate or, you know, whatever the situation is, there's like this underlying like awe, like you referenced, Sahaja, like awe or amazingness that you're just like, holy moly, like here I am, here I'm here, they're here, but they're like me, but they're not, and they're also not like me. They're not me, but I'm me. But and there's all of this. It's hard to put into words, but it's an experience. All of this culminates into an experience that's just self-generating, I think, internally. Definitely an internal feeling. I agree, Linda, not an external feeling, internal feeling. And hey, it's joy. And all the traits we've discussed so far support more of an experience of that. If you're more honest, if you take more responsibility, if you understand your own ethics, if you are disciplined, there's more of you in your life, and there's more that you see of you in your life, which gives you more opportunity to see that infinity mirror of yourself in your life, and more joy. That's the best I think I can come up with.
It's hard to put it into words, right? It's such an experience. But the only thing that I want to say to add to that is like, as you were saying, like we can be joyful even in the most really not good and horrific situations. So I feel like joy is a state or it's not a feeling. It's like a state of mind, of being, that kind of like goes through our whole lives, and we can have that. It's almost like a foundation we can have that as a foundation. And then on top, we're feeling these feelings. And we might feel like the other day, my kids, they were playing ball in the living room, which I've repeatedly said, please don't, like, please take it outside. And they knock over this like super precious thing of mine, I have like a little, like tea table with my things. And they go like, oh my God, like, I'm sorry, Mom. And then I was just, okay, how do I bring this, yes, natural consequences, whatever, but also like they're here, they're alive. Like I need to remind myself that that means that there's life in the house and it's so precious. And at the same time, they they need to learn to make it outside maybe. So yeah, it is a beautiful foundation to have. And I do believe that as human beings, we all have that capacity.
I guess as I'm hearing you guys talk, it's interesting. I guess the word that comes to mind is existence, like the fact that I exist. Like there's a consciousness of like whatever I'm experiencing in the moment is absolutely freaking amazing. Whether it's like heartbreak and pain, or whether it's sacrifice, or whether it's play, all of it is like, what is going on right now? Like I exist, I'm in a human body, like what is going on? There's an external world, there's an internal world, like amazing. And I think that word is what's coming up for me. And I think in some ways, the more we take away the other conditions, like I need to do this to have joy. I need to do this. I need to be this way. I need to do that, like doing all of that in some ways is a distraction from the inherent miracle of every single moment that we're alive. And I think I've certainly, through societal pressures or standards or expectations, well, I have to do all these things in order to be something, whatever. No, I'm already something. And that something is pretty freaking awesome. Now, what do I want to do with that? Do I want to try to build something? Do I want to try to relate with people? Do I want to try to connect? Like, what do we want to do? But I think I've been doing it the wrong way. Like, I think I've had all these like reverse causalities, all these conditions of like, well, I have to do all these things and then I can be joyful, or then I can play, where it's not that at all. I think as we're talking. But it's taken a lot of that for, like, I guess we live through all these conditions, right? And it's taken all of this kind of self-exploration and maybe exploration of ethics and exploration of rules and exploration of vulnerability and what masks do we wear that dull our joy, and rules that allow for a more consistent experience of joy in your life. Whereas before it may be momentary, like you can maybe count like these moments where you experience magnificence and awe, where the world stops and you have this experience, but ideally as you get to know yourself more and kind of peel away the standards of society and all the other pressures we put on ourselves, so we can more consistently experience this infinity within us.
I just want to add something to that. I think like even just the experience of what in DOS and kind of aftermath, like a lot of that, what you were saying, I feel like the moments where I experienced that and joy, or I call it really pure joy, is when I'm just like looking around and really present and being like, wow, it's just amazing. It's great to be alive. And then just even after just thinking and through the process of this, but also everything that's happened to our community and friends and former friends and so forth, it's like, I think about like here where we are, we're here, us standing here present through the thick and thin. And it makes like, I don't know, it's almost like you, in order to experience that true, pure joy, there needs to be some struggle of overcoming adversity, something that makes it really like it's tested and true, and kind of the payoff, or it's almost like the analogy of you've kind of crawled through the mud and everything like that, and you kind of come out like all a little beaten up or whatever, worse for wear, but like you really, that the more adversity, it's the more you appreciate, and how it's just like amazing just to be alive, and all that, versus taking it for granted.
And yeah, I think that's so accurate what you're saying, because I'm thinking of, going through the this whole like exposure of DOS to the public, and all the things that came with that. There were things that I felt I was very wrong about, and it's jarring to get information that's contrary to how you think things are, and you're very somehow committed to thinking reality is a certain way, and then you get other information that shows you're wrong, and yet it through the like processing of that and the acceptance of that, and again, this comes to I think a lot of the traits we've talked about, and just facing the reality that you actually expose more capacity for joy, because you can have that moment, I think, as you were referencing, Danielle, like even during moments of like the sacrifice or whatever, even the moments of like I was wrong, and that even maybe that feels vulnerable, maybe you feel embarrassed, whatever, there's still like this, like, there's me, look what I did. Like I set that up, I set myself up for that. And just it's like looking at a child that you're just amazed with, except you're looking at yourself and you're amazed with yourself, and you can feel joy about that you were there for it, and you did this, and other things happened, and other people did their thing, and you did your thing, and like, yeah, there's this sort of wow factor, like Sahaja referenced.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I appreciate all those additions. There is something, I do, as I reiterate it for myself, it's like there are, I'm going to say, attachments or things that like my mind holds on to that I think I need, whether it's reputation or work or organic food or whatever the things are that I feel like I need to be joyful, which is probably happy, not joyful, but there does seem to be this need to experience the loss of those things, to recognize the core of you is still okay. Like I'm still here and I'm okay. And there's a consistency to that, which I think is really the gift of age. There's just in some ways, there's no other way to get it. Like you need all these data points or these experience points of
Yeah,
you in your life.
it's like wisdom, similar.
Exactly. So like when you go through so many different things and so many different losses and lose different people, and there's still you're still there consistently throughout all of that, and I mean, I definitely wouldn't have what I have now if I hadn't started to actively let go of like, I clearly don't need that. I don't have it. I don't need it anymore. Like I'm okay. But I resisted that for a very long time. There was a lot of resistance and a lot of holding on. So I do, yeah. I mean, this is a wonderful gift to be with you ladies and be able to process this stuff. I mean, for me to be able to see, okay, where am I preventing myself from really experiencing joy? Where am I holding on? Where am I protecting? Where am I, So what a wonderful journey, really. I think in general, even if we did nothing else in the Dossier Project, identifying these 12 traits has been incredible, deepening them in myself, with you ladies, reflecting on it every week. I really, truly hope that it's as helpful for women and men watching. And is there anything else you ladies want to say before I wrap?
Be more joyful.
Just let your joy shine. Yes, let your joy shine, and we will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what it will be about, but it will be about something good. Have a great day. And again, if you guys like this, go ahead and like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And if you think this will help anybody else, please do go ahead and share.